K-Pop Demon Hunters has been a rousing success, and I love this story about these pop idol girls who moonlight as demon hunters to stop this evil Sauron-like figure from spreading his evilness across the world. I mean, I'm not the only one either, because it is Netflix's most watched title of all time. It's also the first Netflix film to top the box office in the United States, and it is still one of the most popular titles airing on Netflix to this day, 3 months later. With all its success though, does K-Pop Demon Hunters pass the anime test? Dun, dun, dun. Okay. Yeah, but seriously, does it pass the anime test? We're about to find out. Anime is widely known for using this production technique called limited animation, and basically this is a technique where they cut costs wherever they can, so that way they can save it for the really big parts of the story. And this means they may reuse scenes across the board. They may use and implement more standing still techniques while they're still talking and telling exposition, but you just see the character standing there. Those are like some of the well-known ways of doing it. Now, K-Pop Demon Hunters was created by Sony Pictures Studios. So this animation studio is also known for creating the Spider-Verse movies. So it wasn't made in Japan either. Money wasn't really that much of a problem here. However, this doesn't mean it doesn't look like an anime. Look no further than our protagonists, who have the crazy big eyes and those crazy colorful hair. And look at the expressions they make, especially early on. They make some of the most anime choices. Even the demons have some weird anime-like styles. I mean, look at their heads. Some of them are elongated, some of them are fat. And that's pretty anime-esque if you ask me. The visuals are pretty cinematic as well. I mean, just look at the wide shots. You got some dynamic angles, and even when you look at the fight scenes, I mean, they're very flashy and glorious and just pretty to look at. And the same goes for the aesthetics. You got that bluish, purplish theme color that really generates a very atmospheric mood, something very spiritual. And we also get plenty of the anime feels, like the bathhouses, the nature walks, and even the elegant uniforms. And there are plenty of, and I mean plenty of, food shots. The animation overall is pretty solid and anime-like to me. It gets a 6 out of 8 points. The story centers around Huntrix, a pop idol group who must stop Guima and his demons from taking over the world. And the only way they can do that is by influencing the fans and getting them on their side. That creates this protective layer called the Han Moon. And the way they do that is by making banger music. Now this task gets much more difficult when the Saja boys, who are actual demons underneath that exterior, start meddling in. Now most anime are pretty serial. They take arcs and multiple episodes to get across a full story. So you may go through episodes of a character rising up to the occasion and defeating the big bad, but it doesn't happen in one episode. On the surface, K-Pop Demon Hunters is pretty episodic, but when you really think about it, this has the potential to be much more serial than you think. I mean, this story is more of a generational battle, and Huntrix is just a cog. This is just one part of the story. We can see many more demons come into the foray, and we'll get that when we see the sequel that will eventually come as well. So more and more looks like a serial kind of story than just episodic. And it might be because of the big success that this movie has been. Maybe they didn't expect it to be as big as it was, but the fact that it is means we're going to get more story from this world. So honestly, K-Pop Demon Hunters is a pretty serial story. Now, the world building in K-Pop Demon Hunters may not be as nuanced as your One Pieces and your Hunter x Hunters, but we get everything we need to know within the first 10 minutes, and it's pretty significant. There's more that we can learn from on a world building standpoint. I mean, we don't know how Huntrix became demons, to be honest, and we don't really know about the weapons and why these weapons were particularly used. Look, the fact is, this is a kid's movie, so I don't think we're ever going to really get that level of detail, to be honest. But it doesn't really matter because we do get everything that we need to know. Besides, the tone and the themes more than make up for the lack of world building. KPop Demon Hunters is more emotional than you might expect because Rumi herself is fighting the very battle that she kind of is a part of. I mean, she's a demon, and she's been hiding this fact from her friends and everybody for a very long time. There's kind of an inner battle going on, not just between her and her friends against the demons, but her within herself. And she can't express her full potential because she's scared to see what other people will think of her. And the fact is, she finds solace in one of the bad guys because he's also suffering from not being his true self. Even though he is a villain, he's not quite as bad as the others. So it makes sense why these two do come together, and you definitely feel for both of them. And Rumi's not the only one facing demons in this movie. I mean, both Mira and Zoe also have their own, and we get a little bit of that. Serious anime often put in comedy to make the audience not feel completely depressed while watching. KPop Demon Hunters does this so well because on the surface it is a very serious story, but there are a lot of comedy gags that we just can't get enough of. Like Bobby, the manager of the group, who often gets in over his head. Bless his heart. You even have the hack doctor that the girls go see, when she starts losing her voice. And even Zoe herself provides some comic relief at times, even if it's not as much. I really do love how emotionally ranging this film is, and that's really what separates it from your typical American movie, especially animated movie. The major theme of this movie is about self-acceptance and just believing in yourself. Look, any great anime can tell you if you have a theme about improving yourself, it's worth watching. The storytelling here is near perfect, 7 out of 8. Every anime has the typical tropes, and KPop Demon Hunters has them as well, and we can take a look at Huntrix first. Rumi, for all intents and purposes, is a tsundere. I mean, she's very, very nice and caring, with her friends, for sure. But she also can be pretty harsh to the people she doesn't like, or even people that she starts growing to like. Mira is very much like a kudere. I mean, she's pretty emotionless and very serious, like 100% of the time. Zoe is very lovable and very clumsy at the same time, so this makes her like the perfect bakadere, in my opinion. You also have your mentor who doesn't necessarily make the best choices. Bobby is definitely the comic relief. Jinu is your standard Bishonen. I mean, he is handsome, he is the rival, and look, he even has that classic tragic backstory behind him as well. Visually, we see plenty of the standard tropes that you see in anime, like the tears flowing like a waterfall, the standing on top of the roof moment, and even ugly faces galore. Narratively, we have your training arcs in the form of making and trying to create music together. We also have perseverance, and we have the power of friendship. Power of friendship, number 1 trope. Unfortunately, we don't see the meta tropes that a lot of anime love to implement. Deconstruction, your reconstructions, and even your subversions, But it doesn't matter because this story is pretty cut and dry overall, and I don't think they really needed to add that in there anyways. Look, the tropes fit the bill pretty good. It's a 6 out of 8. As you would expect, the music in K-Pop Demon Hunters is supreme. And look, it's because it's very good at telling the story. In how it's done, we see a real uppity song and how they actually hunt the demons down. Golden shows Rumi's demon side for the first time. Soda Pop shows how the rise of the Saja boys are really making a problem for Huntrix. Even Your Idol has such a hypnotizing effect when you listen to it. I mean, it really does fit the tone of the moment. Not to mention, each song is as catchy as heck. I also love how they blend in the Korean and the English so effectively, because it really does create that authenticity when it comes to K-pop songs. And the mix of genres as well. You get some hip hop, you also get some synthy pop in there. It's really, really authentic, and I really appreciate that. And look, I'm not the only one either, because in fact, this film has the distinct quality of being the first soundtrack to have had four songs in the top 10 of the Hot 100 Billboard charts, which is something we haven't seen since Waiting to Exhale. Shoop, 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 shoobaru. Sorry guys, sorry. Look, the voice acting is also pretty darn good. I mean, when it comes to the dubs, the voice actors bring that seiyuu quality to this movie. I mean, the level of expressionism that they give, the level of dynamism, I mean, it is really good, high quality stuff. Arden Cho, who brings that intensity, that emotional complexity to Rumi in K-Pop Demon Hunters, and it is nothing to sneeze at by any means. Like when her demon side was exposed at the Idol Awards, you could feel the heartbreak. Tried to find solace in finding the real Mira and Zoe, just to realize that they were also afraid. She became so despondent, and it was just one of those feelings you could really feel for her in the moment. It was really well done. Every voice actor in this film deserves an A+ because they brought their best stuff. There's also a surprising amount of star power coming from the lesser known characters as well. We have Daniel Dae Kim, we have Ken Jeong, we have Prosy D, and we even have Lee Byung-hoon from Squid Game fame as the voice of Guima. The sound effects are pretty on point here as well, and one of my favorite scenes is when we first see Jinu. He enters playing the bipa, and just the sound is so traditional, so authentically Korean, and I just think it's a pretty awesome scene. There are plenty of exaggerated impacts from the sounds as well, like every time Rumi screamed, as her demon scream just made the world rumble a little bit. And it's crazy because like to see her scream and that demon scream had that kind of impact across the city, it was just really intense. And then even the most hilarious scene of all, when Huntrix goes down that slide, just slowly, ever so slowly, and it's screeching, making you cringe for that like few seconds that you hear it, but it's hilarious. The one thing it didn't really have was those tropey sounds, like the shouting attack names, or the sound of cicadas, or those peaceful tones that really make you know the type of season you're in. But in turns, we didn't really know when this was happening, so I guess it didn't really matter. But we still don't get those kind of authentic sounds in there. However, this is plenty of music to my ears. 6 out of 10. Lastly, we had the vibes, the intangibles. If there's one genre that K-Pop Demon Hunters falls in, it would pretty easily be that shoujo, maho shoujo. While we don't get the transformations that we all know and love, it does capture the essence in pretty much every other way possible. The romance, the glitz and glamour, the lovable protagonists fighting evil, and even the hiding your abilities from everyone else kind of thing, even if they don't do it necessarily all that well. Culturally speaking, Anime tends to employ some part of Japanese culture in its work, like 99% of the time. And K-Pop Demon Hunters is very anime-like, in where it does the same thing, but it does it for its Korean counterpart. We see it in the vibes, we see it in the songs, where there's plenty of Korean mixed in with the English lyrics, and just the look and feel of it all is all pretty Korean inspired. Symbolically speaking, the weapons that Huntrix uses to fight demons do play a role in Korean culture, specifically shamanism, where they use weapons as part of rituals to create a more harmonious life between their lives and the supernatural world. Even Jinu's pets play a very important role in Korean culture. They're like the equivalent of yin and yang, where the tiger is very proud, very powerful, very resilient, and the magpie is very joyful, very hopeful, and very clever. Now in Minwa, tigers are often portrayed in more comical ways, and we see that in K-Pop Demon Hunters because the tiger here is very silly and very clumsy. He can't even pick up things properly. One other anime staple I noticed is the fallible authority figure, and Celine is definitely culpable of this. I mean, she has been the bright North Star for Rumi. We see and we learn over the course of the story that Celine tried to do what was right, but her way ultimately wasn't the right way to do it. And I think that's just one of the things that makes this movie so much more like an anime and so more authentic, because even your highest authority figures mess up at times, and that's what they're trying to portray. This film also has a cool factor that can't be denied. The imagery and the style is so distinct and so beautiful to look at, but it also lacks that realism, and I think that's just one of the most anime-like things you can say about this movie. Now, do I even need to talk about the fandom appeal that this movie has? I mean, it speaks for itself. Between the beautiful music and the excellent scenes, I mean, there is so much they can use to create AMVs from K-Pop Demon Hunters. I mean, it's insane. And look, to think on a cosplay standpoint, I mean, I would be 100% surprised if no one in this big, wide world has not tried to cosplay as any member of Huntrix, or really anyone that's been in this movie. Not to mention, I'm sure there are plenty of people out there who have already found their characters that they ship with. The vibes are perfect, 8 out of 8. So now if we add up all the different categories, we get a grand total of a 33 out of 40, which makes it a perfect B. And look, I think that's pretty accurate. It's pretty darn close to an anime in a lot of ways. There are some stark things to K-Pop Demon Hunters that doesn't really feel like an anime, or feels more like your typical American cartoon. But overall, this movie feels much more like an anime. Thanks for watching. If you just can't get enough of me and want to show some love and support, please like this video, subscribe. It really does help. And look, I would love 5 minutes of your time. If you could watch my next video, which should be on the screen, give me 5 minutes of your time to convince you to watch this absolutely depressing, sad anime. Because look, it will be one of the best things you will ever watch in your entire life. The fact of how real and how raw it is really a beautiful story. Now, I hope you have a great day, a great night, a great morning, wherever it is, wherever you are, and don't forget, Kokishin Amote Kudasai.